They always assumed I'd be the one who couldn't manage money in the family, never imagining that I had already secured the deed to a $5.2 million estate, tucked away in my bag. If you've ever been underestimated by those closest to you, stay with me. This story is going to resonate. Last Sunday, everyone was in the living room. My parents, my older brother Ethan, and his fiancée Claire. The air was thick with forced smiles and barely hidden judgment. Ethan had always been the perfect child. Ambitious, celebrated, and apparently destined for success. And then there was me, Lena, the disappointment who left school early, skipped the conventional career path, and somehow had never measured up. Mom looked at me with the same concerned expression she always wore. "So you're still in that tiny rental apartment?" she asked. "You should really take a page from Ethan's book." Claire chuckled, flipping her hair casually. "Ethan's almost finalized the purchase of his dream home. It's like $5 million. Super exclusive. Only people who've really made it can live there." Ethan grinned. "You should maybe aim a little lower, Lena. Something manageable. Don't embarrass yourself chasing something too big." Their words stung, but I stayed silent, letting them feel comfortable in their assumptions. For years they mocked my online ventures, claiming I'd never be financially stable, never as accomplished as Ethan. Dad poured himself a drink and added, "We're proud you're trying, but let's be honest, you'll never reach Ethan's level. Some people are meant to lead, others to follow." My chest tightened. They had no idea what I was capable of. No one had ever asked about my work, they simply assumed I was failing. Claire laughed again. "Maybe one day you'll get lucky with a boyfriend who buys you a house." The room erupted in laughter, but I barely noticed. My phone vibrated quietly in my bag. A message from my real estate agent. "Congratulations, Lena. The final payment cleared. Keys will be ready today." I gripped the purse that contained the folder with all the property details. A $5.2 million mansion, fully paid for, completely mine. I lifted my gaze, smiling deliberately. "Actually," I said, voice calm yet edged with satisfaction, "I already bought a house too." Every laugh in the room stopped. Ethan frowned. "Wait, what?" I slid my purse onto the table, ready to reveal the documents that would leave them speechless. Claire scoffed. "Oh, don't tell me it's one of those little investment properties you always brag about." I didn't respond. I just smiled. A smile that unsettled everyone because they couldn't tell whether I was bluffing or about to shatter their assumptions. Mom crossed her arms. "Lena, we're not judging. We just want you to be realistic. You can't measure yourself against Ethan. He's been dealing with real investors, real money. You just sit at home on your laptop all day." Ethan sipped his drink smugly. "Exactly. Some things are beyond your reach. No offense, it's just reality." Reality? They had no clue what my reality actually looked like. 2 years ago I was struggling. No car, surviving on instant noodles, lying awake at night with tears running down my cheeks while everyone, including my family, told me I'd never succeed. But I refused to give up. I built an online business from nothing, working nights, sleeping on the floor, learning everything from free tutorials online. Every penny went straight back into my venture. Now that laptop job they mocked was generating 7 figures annually, but they didn't need to know that, not yet. I met Ethan's smug gaze. "You're right. I can't compare myself to you," I said softly. He nodded, confident. "Exactly. You're doing fine in your own way." I cut him off. "Except the house I just bought is bigger than yours." Silence crashed over the room. Mom froze mid-drink. Dad's hand paused on the glass. Claire blinked repeatedly, as though the words hadn't registered. Ethan laughed awkwardly, unsure whether to be angry or impressed. "Bigger than mine, huh? Where?" "On the moon," I said lightly, shrugging. "You'll see soon enough." Before anyone could respond, my phone buzzed again. This time I turned the screen toward them so everyone could read it. "Your Bentley has been delivered to the new address. Keys are in the glove compartment." Jessica let out a sharp gasp. Adam's jaw literally dropped. But before anyone could process the news, Mom's face changed. She slammed her glass onto the table and said, "That's enough, Sylvia. Don't make a scene in front of your brother. He's finalizing the house deal this Friday." It clicked. She wasn't surprised. I realized she was angry because deep down, she hated that her so-called failure daughter had actually succeeded. My family didn't want me to thrive. They wanted me dependent. But I wasn't playing their game anymore. I smiled, rose from my seat and said, "Fine. How about you all come with me tomorrow? I'll show you my tiny rental unit." Jessica rolled her eyes. "Sure, why not? Could use a laugh." Adam smirked. "All right, little sis. Let's see this mansion of yours. Don't cry when it's just a joke." My heartbeat raced, not from fear, but from the thrill of quiet revenge. Tomorrow they'd see the truth, and I'd watch their pride crumble. The next morning the air felt different. This wasn't a casual family visit, it was Judgment Day. Mom had already texted, "We're on our way. Don't be late." I stepped out of what they thought was a modest apartment, my tiny rental. My chauffeur opened the door, and I slid into the back seat of my sleek black Bentley, the same one they'd just seen in my text. As we drove toward the gated community, every mile fueled my anticipation. This was the moment they'd witness who I'd become. When we arrived, I stepped out first. The house stood like a triumph. Glass walls gleamed under the sun. A curved driveway was lined with imported palm trees. This wasn't just a house, it was a declaration. Minutes later, Adam's car pulled up. His smug face appeared in the window, Jessica beside him, snapping photos for social media captions about living large. Mom and Dad followed right behind them. Jessica stepped out, squinting at the mansion. "Whose house is this? You said we were coming to see yours." I smiled calmly. "You are." Mom frowned, eyeing the massive gate and security camera. "Sylvia, this joke has gone far enough. You don't need to lie to prove anything." Adam snorted. "Yeah, show us the real place before the owner throws us out." Right then, the gate slid open automatically. The security guard nodded to me. "Morning, Miss Sylvia. Welcome home." Their expressions froze. Jessica's mouth hung open. Adam's eyes darted between me and the guard, as if trying to buffer reality. "You actually live here?" Adam asked slowly. "Yes," I said, relishing the disbelief. "Bought it last week. Paid in full." Mom clutched her chest. "Paid in full?" I nodded. $5.2 million. No mortgage. Dad stumbled forward, staring at the house like it had taunted him. "Sylvia, how is that possible? You don't even have a real job." That word stung. Real job. After years of late nights, negotiating with suppliers, managing investors, and building a business from scratch, they still didn't see it as legitimate. I didn't argue. I simply pressed my fingerprint against the door scanner. The door swung open. "Come in," I said. Inside, marble floors gleamed, chandeliers sparkled like crowns, and the walls were adorned with framed articles from Forbes and Entrepreneur. "Proof of my tireless effort," Jessica whispered. "Is this real?" Adam's voice cracked. "What do you even do?" I turned slowly, letting my words land. "Remember when you mocked my online store? That silly store now ships to 42 countries. We made $12 million in sales this year." Silence. You could almost hear their egos shatter. Mom's lips trembled. "Sylvia, why didn't you tell us?" "Because," I said softly, "you only listen when there's money involved." I looked at Adam, the brother who had spent years trying to outdo me. "You spent years trying to surpass me. But the truth is, you never looked at me. You only looked down on me." Adam looked away, jaw tight, ego crumbling. Just as I thought my victory was complete, Jessica spun toward me abruptly, her voice tight. "Wait. Are you saying you bought this property from Everly Estates?" I frowned. "Yeah, why?" She exchanged a quick, anxious glance with Adam before lowering her voice. "Because that's the same developer your brother just signed with. And there's been an issue with the deeds." I froze. "What kind of issue?" Adam went pale. "Sylvia, you might have just purchased my house." For a moment, time itself seemed to pause. The laughter, the pride, the tension, all hung suspended in the air. I blinked, mind racing. "What are you talking about?" "My house." Adam's face reddened. "I finalized a deal with Everly Estates 2 weeks ago for this exact property. My realtor assured me it was all under my name." Jessica stepped closer, gripping her phone. "There must have been a double listing. There's no way you both bought the same house." Mom gasped. "Oh my God, what's happening?" I remained unnervingly calm. I opened my phone, scrolled through my emails, and tapped on the contract. Here, I said, showing the screen. The purchase is wired, approved, and finalized. In my name as of yesterday. Dad snatched the phone, his face draining of color. Sylvia, this is real. Adam's eyes widened in disbelief. Impossible. My deposit is confirmed, the realtor said. Deposit? I interrupted softly. I paid the full amount. Jessica opened her mouth, but no sound came out. I let the silence stretch, heavy and deliberate. While you were busy bragging about putting down a deposit, I said, voice steady, I closed the deal. Mom pressed her hands to her cheeks. The house, the one your father and I were so proud of, belongs to Sylvia now. Adam's face tightened. You stole my dream, Sylvia. I met his glare with a calm smile. No, Adam. I earned it. You were too busy mocking me to notice that I was quietly outworking you. His words faltered, sharp as shattered glass. He looked around the grand living room, the chandelier, the sweeping staircase, the luxury he had thought would define him. Now it was mine. Jessica muttered under her breath. This can't be real. It is, I said. And don't worry. I'll let you visit sometimes. Maybe bring a housewarming gift. Mom looked crushed, caught between disbelief and shame. Sylvia, we were wrong about you. I nodded slowly. You didn't believe in me when I had nothing. You laughed at my ambitions, ignored my effort, told me I'd never measure up to Adam. You were right about one thing, I'm not like him. I'm better. Silence swallowed the room. Only the faint hum of the air conditioner remained, like karma settling quietly into place. Adam clenched his jaw, pride crumbling piece by piece. You think you've won? I glanced around the mansion. Polished floors, sunlight spilling across the space, the symbol of countless lonely nights spent working through tears. I smiled softly. No, Adam. I don't think I've won. I just stopped playing your game and built my own. He had nothing to say. Around me, the people who had once mocked me stood frozen, trapped in my triumph. As they turned to leave, Jessica whispered something bitter to Adam, but I didn't care. I stepped onto the balcony, watching them drive away as they had once left me behind. The wind brushed against my face, and for the first time in years I felt unburdened. No more proving. No more seeking validation. Just peace. I opened my business app and smiled as the dashboard refreshed. Another $180,000 in overnight sales. My reflection shimmered in the glass behind me. The girl they once called a failure now owned everything they had ever wanted. And the satisfaction was undeniable.